A little red. Do I look red?
You look good.
Are we doing callers today?
No, we're not going to take callers today.
No. Okay.
You look good.
Thank you for letting me know. That way I can
Yeah.
respond accordingly. I don't want to leave anybody on hold all show.
That's funny.
All right. As soon as you hear that music, we are live.
Welcome to Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed with mediums Kelley Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy. Over the next hour, you'll hear engaging conversations that will guide you in your own journey of personal growth and transformation. Now, here are your hosts, Kelley Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's program, Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed, on the VoiceAmerica channel on empowerment. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. Today, we have been waiting for this show to happen. We have a very special guest, Laurie St Clare, Master Evolutionary Astrologist. So we'll be talking with her on today's program. But first, I'd like to say hello to my colleague. Hello, Kelley. How are you today?
Hello, everybody. I am doing great on this wonderful Wednesday, and I'm excited to hear all about your evolutionary astrology, Laurie. And Laurie is an amazing person, so I know how intelligent she is. You guys are in for a great show.
Oh, that's great. Today's show is called Using Evolutionary Astrology to See Your Soul's Path. So we're going to be using that today. We're going to ask Laurie, what is evolutionary astrology and how is it going to help us? I first want to tell you a little bit about Laurie St Clare. Laurie is a master of evolutionary astrology. She practices the astrology of freedom and free will to help her clients live their most empowered life. She is also a natural born medium, as well as extensively trained by the top mediums in their field. She has studied with the world-renowned Arthur Findlay College tutors in the UK. Laurie's also been featured on well-known radio shows, The Michael and Raphael Tamura, Living the Miracle. Laurie enjoys working with clients one-to-one and also at spiritual circles and women's retreats. So there's plenty more that Laurie's going to be sharing with us, but I want to welcome Laurie St Clare to the program today.
Well, thank you, Cheryl and Kelley. It's such an honor to be here. I'm so excited to talk with you guys. It's always great to see you.
You know, Laurie, the first thing, if I can jump out of the gate and just help us understand what is evolutionary astrology, because I've gotten readings with you. You're so right on. You told me things that, are so true in my family and me and my life and what's happening and what happened. But what does evolutionary astrology mean? How do you define that?
Well, evolutionary astrology is particularly focused on helping people to make the best decisions possible with the information in the astrological chart. And in particular, it focuses on the nodes of the moon, the north and south node. And this is an indicator of what you have done and accomplished in past life and what your evolutionary growth path is in this life. Now, some people might not believe or subscribe to reincarnation. So I always say, you know what? It's been proven scientifically that genetically things are passed down, trauma, etc. So even if you don't subscribe to that, we can look at these particular points in your chart because the moon has to do with your past. It also has to do with your mother, your emotions, things that you do unconsciously and subconsciously. So that's one of the best things about evolutionary astrology is it has a much more spiritual bent. Not to say that other astrology is not, but for me, I'd been studying astrology for quite a while before I found out about evolutionary astrology, and it really just put it all together in a much richer context. So it really helps people to kind of see their habit patterns and how to get out of them and move forward. And a lot of people will want me to tell them, give me a prediction. And I feel that really takes people's power away, because you making your own decision with the information is the thing that's going to really help you in developing confidence in your ability to make decisions, to get further along on your spiritual path. So,
in other words, it's more of you're using this for them as a tool for them to really empower them to make their own decisions and choices based on this information, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is the astrology chart, the astrology is never wrong. I love that.
I know. It's
My-
crazy right. It's
Isn't
like,
it?
it's insane, like how right it is.
Absolutely. My mentor used to always say, it's the astrology is never wrong. It's about the art of interpretation.
Mhm.
And it is, sorry, do you have a
But
question?
well, yeah, knowing that though, does that mean that people don't have the opportunity? Like sometimes something says, that there's certain things that are going to happen at certain times in their life. Do they have, does this, knowing this in advance, give them the ability to make different decisions and change that?
I think so, because it's a co-creation. And in the chart, when you look, I feel, come in with a certain map, a certain plan. It's a program. If you go to a play, you get a program about what's going to happen. And so there's certain things that can happen, during your lifetime, but the consciousness that you bring to it is what makes the difference. And that's what I like to focus on, is helping people with their awareness of the possibilities of what could happen, and particularly during certain time periods. So does that help you?
Yeah, I have another question.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I am like, I love astrology.
I
Okay.
know you do, and I love that you love it. Yeah.
So my question is, for example, my son's chart, when I ran it when he was a baby and I ran his dad's, and they had almost the stars, almost they're different signs.
Uh-huh.
Dad's birthday's in June. He's a Gemini. My son was a Cancer. He was in July. But everything in the stars were almost identical except for a couple things on their charts.
Right.
Both of them. And I thought, what a weird synchronistic coincidence. Of course, I'm going to notice this because I'm that kind of a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And I was obsessed with it. My sister had the software that ran it when
Right.
when a long time ago. I was like, look, my son would be 27. So this is, of course, 26 years ago, right?
Right.
And one of the things I noticed is that there was opportunities, it looked like, from reading the chart, where that he may pass at a certain age or at a certain time.
Yes.
And they were, one of the ages was 18 and the other one was 22, and then there was another one later in life, and of course he passed at 20, between 18 and 22.
Oh.
And I just think that's so interesting how accurate his was, because it talked about him getting in trouble with the law when he hit the teen years, and he did.
Yeah.
He was in trouble with the law. I was like,
Right.
what in the world?
Yeah.
How does it so fascinates me.
It-
And I want to understand, like, how does that work, and how do we change things that could happen? If we're open
Absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely. If you are open to it. And it's interesting because for me, it's always that thing of freedom, fate versus free will. And I always think that is a variable every day. Sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 49-51. And
Right.
I do feel that certain things we do have planned out, but we have soul contracts, but sometimes, that person that we had the contract with, it doesn't exactly follow the contract, because we do have free will. And the thing is, like you said, you can see in certain people's charts, they'll be more prone to maybe accidents, or something violent could happen. And this is not to scare people, because
Yeah.
we're all mediums on here. We know that life goes on and we're all here for experiences. But there are, and as you know, with most people, there are particular windows where people are more likely to pass.
Yes.
And so that's the thing. It could be, I mean, you've seen where you have someone that you think, when they're older, oh, this will be the time they pass. And then they keep living like 10 more years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
Right.
my mother.
Right. And so that's the thing. There's those things where the person's, just they choose to just stay longer, and that's part of the changing that. So I just want to come back to your question and make sure, is there anything else that you wanted clarification on that?
Well, no, I mean, I could go, I could talk the whole show through this.
Me
it's
too.
such a
Me too.
fascinating subject.
I know. I make myself laugh at how excited I get about astrology.
I'm surprised I'm not an astrologist because I love it so much, but I'm not.
Right. Well, you know what? You have to decide in life. There's so many things that you could choose to do.
Right.
But Kelley, I want to touch back on you looking at the charts together, like family patterns are fascinating.
Yes.
You look at charts together, like everybody in my family, and I have a big family, 8 people, have a lot of planets at 21 degrees. And so there's always a similarity and connection. And when you meet people that you really get along with, you'll see how your charts go together. Even when someone comes in at a certain time in your life, there may be a connection just through the progressions. So where their chart is at that time, and then they move away, as that progression moves away. So anyways.
Well, it just fascinates me. I mean, I love to see patterns.
Yes.
And that's what I see a lot with astrology in my family too.
Absolutely. It's
even looking in my genealogy,
Right. Yeah, it's
crazy.
Mind-blowing. It certainly is.
Well, go ahead, Cheryl.
I was just going to say, I mean, I know we hope, Laurie, that you teach a class because, I don't know if you're doing any teaching right now or anything, but my God, I mean, it is so fascinating. I mean, to know that, when you read a chart, you can, tell people there are opportunities coming, or there's windows of opportunity, or windows to exit, or, I mean, because you are, as an evolutionary astrologist, you are connecting with the soul, right? Like the soul is in the stars. How's that?
You know what? I love that you said that, because I was just saying the other day that, another thing, they have proved scientifically that we actually are made of the stars.
Oh.
And so biologically, we are connected. And people would always say, well, how can the planets affect, our lives? And a lot of that comes from people fearing they're going to be controlled. And it's like, no, we're all part of this big dance, and we're here to do our part in it. And it's not about the control, it's about the connection. The moon moves the tides of the ocean.
Right?
So, yeah.
I mean, there's so much to it, too. It's so fascinating. To me, it is totally scientific, and I can't see how anybody could disprove it.
Yeah, well, it's just what people, and like, I don't try to sell it to anybody. I don't try to convert them. All roads lead to home. And if it's just something that can help you, that's great. Everybody has something different.
So I have 2 questions now. One,
Okay.
How on earth did you even get into astrology? Like, how did it all start? Like, what was your first, were you a medium first, a healer? Like, how did it all happen?
I was not a medium first. Didn't get that for a long time, that I was a medium. But I'll tell you, I was so interested in astrology as even a kid, and we're just going to say over 40 years ago, we'll go that way, that I was buying Linda Goodman's Sun Signs, that's a classic. Everybody knows that. Sydney Omar's, that's probably dating me. a horoscope book, the star scrolls, and I was really into it. I was really into mythology, and that has to do with archetypes, and that's really the basis for psychology.
Really.
And I was just fascinated by it, and I was always into it. And when I actually started taking classes, it was funny because it's so quick and easy for me, and people would be so mad that had been in the classes for a long time, and because I would just get it like that, and I would go, well, don't you see it? It's just right there. And so anyways, but it's just something that was really natural to me. I'm sure I've done it before.
Right?
Yeah.
I know as a child, I used to go every January 1st to put my quarter in the machine, starting at age 4, 3 or 4, to get my
Right.
yearly horoscope out of the
Right.
machine.
Yeah.
That was in the 1970s, early
Yes.
1970s.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my mom would laugh because we were both Libras, and she would have to read it to me, of course, because I'm 4 and I couldn't read. And then I would sit there and I would like talk to my angels and everybody. This is
Right.
it, like I probably did this younger than 4, but
Right.
New Year's Eve I would sit up all night and just talk to them and plan out my whole year based on what I read.
Fantastic. And it's fantastic because look, you're co-creating right
Yes,
there.
I
You
was.
Yeah, you weren't looking at like, okay, this is set in stone,
Right.
and it's like, okay, this is what I have to work with. This is the potential. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I just, I think it was interesting that I was obsessed with mythology as a child too. So, I mean, all of these things are synchronistic. It's funny, but I love that.
Absolutely.
I love this. Go ahead, Cheryl. I know I'm hogging this right now because
Well,
it's my
no,
favorite
I was
subject.
I was the same as you, Kelly, with that. My mom would get, a horoscope books, and the Omar you were mentioning. I mean, every year we had our own zodiac sign, our own horoscope sign. We read, who are you favorable with? What's your monthly calendar? I mean,
Oh,
even
yeah.
today, I still am fascinated by what you do. But how do people reach you? Let me just, because I know people right now are thinking, how are we going to get a hold of Laurie St. Clare? Do they go to your website, lauriestclaire.com?
Yeah, they can go to my website, lauriestclaire.com. It's STCLARE.
Mhm.
And they can reach me through there. I'm on Facebook. You can reach me through there. I'm on Instagram, Laurie St. Clare. Yeah.
Well, before I ask you my next question, which is going to be, how do you do readings for people? Like, what information do you need from them when you do a reading? And then, is it by Zoom and phone? But before I get there, let me just tell everyone how great Laurie St. Clare is with her astrology and her gifts, because she on Facebook page, it's Laurie St. Clare on Facebook, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She does videos every month. She does new moon videos. And do you do full moon videos?
I do full
also?
moon, yeah. And then
And
if there's Mercury retrogrades, yeah.
oh, yes, definitely Mercury retrogrades. Anytime there's news out there, Laurie is doing a video on it, so you can read it or you can watch the video. But it's really helpful for me because it's almost like you're helping me prepare for what's coming or what to look
Absolutely.
out for. Or, hey, if I'm feeling low, this might be because of why, or if I'm sleeping a lot, or if the energy's, high, it just helps me as a person navigate, right? Until kind of navigate through it or to enjoy it too, because I know there's a lot of great things happening as well. But that's
Absolutely.
right. Your videos are very supportive.
I frequently send my clients that are business clients looking for an astrologer to you too, because it is a great tool. And believe
Yeah.
it or not, a lot of businesses and CEOs and all of that love to get their chart done for the company and for the, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not
It's
just
very
themselves.
Absolutely. It's very important. And I'm glad you brought that. Thank you, Cheryl, so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And that just makes me so happy to hear, because that's what I want to be contributing to, is to inspiring people and, uplifting them and reminding everybody we're all in this together, we're all trying to do the best we can. And Kelley, it's so true. Like, you can there's so many ways that astrology can enhance people's lives. Like there's specialties, like I do evolutionary astrology, but also, I do a bit of medical astrology in like for helping people to choose surgery times. That's really important. That's really important. Like, there's no perfect day, but there are certainly times where
Better, better.
exactly. And who doesn't want to try to get the best time for that? People that had LASIK, stuff like that, business, there's all sorts of ways that you can use it, planning things. So thanks for bringing that up, Kelley.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, because I do a lot of business readings myself,
Yeah,
but mine are just intuitive readings, right?
right.
So, when they're looking for details or dates or things like that, I'm like, you need to talk to Laurie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's true. I know I get a lot of people from you, and I'm just like, oh, yay. It's always so good, the connection, and to everybody to support everybody, especially
Yes.
now. And that is really in the stars right now, is about everything that's coming up and out, and people feeling so frustrated, but recognizing everybody's human. So,
I have a name for your new show. It's called It's in the Stars.
thank
Ooh,
you.
I love it.
Thank
I
you.
love it too.
All
You're going to
right.
start a show?
Apparently, Cheryl's doing a reading for me right now. It is funny because I will tell you, my mentor came through in a mediumship practice just on Monday, and she was so excited that I was going to be on your show. I just want to tell you guys.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So Laurie, I know we're going to go to break in 5 minutes or so. We still have a good amount of time, but please tell people like when they're going to reach you on your website. What do you need from them?
Oh, right. Sorry, Cheryl.
No, it's good. I was going to remind you, like, what do you need from them? What do they need to gather for you?
So if somebody's coming for a reading, I'll need their date of birth, the time of birth, and their place where they were born. And it's important to have all of those things. And sometimes people don't have the time. I get that, but it's really good. It's not impossible to do a reading without the birth time, but it makes it a lot more accurate. And especially for going forward in time, it's like coordinates. Like if you're taking a plane, getting on a plane, you punch in the coordinates and you're going to go to your destination. And the more accurate they are, the more accurate, you're going to land in that place. So, and sometimes people don't have the birth time on their certificate. Now it depends where you're born, but you should, if you're in the United States, try and contact the county records and ask for the long form. Have the short form. And so you can do that, and you could just call up. Maybe you'll get lucky and say, "Oh, I'm doing it for genealogy." But also, people might leave the birth time in a Bible, family Bible, something like that. So that it? Yeah.
That's crazy. And so you're doing readings on the phone right now and on Zoom.
Yep.
That's how you're doing your readings. And as Kelley mentioned, because she got her family read, you do family readings and individual readings. I mean,
Yeah, it depends. Like I do readings, especially for, parents with their children.
Oh, I love it.
Usually, if they're under 18, some people come to me and they want me to read their son who's 30, and I'm like, he's an adult.
Yeah, right.
And if somebody does want me to read for somebody else, I'll ask for, do you have their permission? Because I think that's really important.
Exactly. Yes.
But doing readings for, couples is really helpful because you can see, this person, their Mercury, which is how they communicate, it's in this sign, which might not be the way you communicate. And, and you just get some insight into being able to communicate in a better way instead of thinking, well, they just don't get me, Yeah.
If anything, you're learning more about them.
Absolutely.
As far as their mannerisms or their personality or their likes and dislikes or why they favor something over another, and the same for you. And That's, or, even seasonally, right? Some people like winter better than summer or something. It's
Yeah,
probably in the charts too.
absolutely.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure my husband and our charts are perfect for each other. I'm
Oh,
like sure of it.
I think so too, because I know Paul and you guys
oh,
are great. I love it.
yeah.
You know? And even though it's funny though, because even I'll see charts of people that you think wouldn't go together, but it's also again the consciousness you bring to it. And if you're able to be on the same page and not in expectation of perfection. So I
That's
would say most important relationship is with yourself. And then you go from there.
Oh, that's
Yes.
so lovely too, because if we can be a better person, not for other people, but just to ourselves too. I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves. Why are we so afraid of this or that? And it's like it's in the stars that maybe, something happened, or, whatever. I don't know, some habit or some fear or some, feeling
Absolutely.
alone. Maybe
Right.
I mean, you read so much into this, Laurie. I mean, it's really amazing to have a reading with you, because it's not only a mediumship reading and an astrology reading, but it's really like a human evolutionary. It's like where you came from and where you're going. It's
Right.
amazing, right? It's your
Yeah.
soul. It's your evolving soul.
Thank you. And I'm really happy to hear that. It's funny. One time I had a woman and we were done with the reading and she goes, "You could have saved me 12 years of therapy." And I just laughed and I thought, maybe this was just the final thing she needed, but it was great to hear.
Ah,
When I had my reading with you, it was about 3 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, is is that new, or were you doing this back then? I can't
Oh, I've been
remember.
doing it quite
For
a
a
long
long time.
time.
So that's
Yeah.
what we
More
had done,
long.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to get another one.
Yeah. That'd be great. I love connecting with you guys. I
I
miss you
know.
guys. Yeah.
So we have a couple minutes till break, and I just want to tell everybody, if you would like, for Laurie to, look at your chart, please email us your date of birth and time of birth. And I don't know that she'll be able to get to everybody, but she could definitely, tap into a couple. And I know we have 2 already that have sent it in. So just letting everybody out there know on Facebook or out on the radio. That's what we should do. And check that out and send it to us in an email so that we don't post your private stuff everywhere. Oh, and also don't forget to add where you were born, like what state or what continent. I guess.
City.
City. There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else I forgot?
No, I think that's it. Cheryl?
Okay.
guys, well, I think we have it all. The more you can give Laurie and send in your questions, the more we can answer your questions. So Laurie's going to get to work now and do a couple of readings for us on the next half hour of the show. Guys, we're getting ready to go to break. You're with Seeing Beyond Living Transformed, and you're with Laurie St. Clare, Master Evolutionary Astrologist. We're so glad that you're with us today, and we'll be right back after this message break.
You're clear.
Thank you. So we're on Facebook still, just so you know, and they can hear us. But I put in Monica's information there for
Yes.
you.
I just saw it. Thank you.
And up
That's
above
great.
that, I put in Ariel's. And Ariel, I will add her place of birth. I believe she said Miami.
Okay.
Well, I'll just tell you
Let's
it's
make
Miami.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, it's Miami. Miami, Florida, she was born in. So those are 2 if you want to get started. And the emails are popping in.
Awesome.
I won't send too many at once. I'll let you do those 2 first and see if we have time for any more.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
So I know it's a lot of work. It's not like a regular reading, and it's hard to do in a quick, timing.
Yeah, absolutely. I will do the best I can in the time given, and of course, it's never any accident like who pops up. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody's got something going on. And let me just see who else. I know you sent me
Ariel and Monica are the two I sent you first.
But you actually sent me somebody before that in the very beginning. They're under, I put them under mystery.
Oh, because I emailed them, but they never emailed me back.
Oh, okay. No problem
So
then.
I don't
Okay.
know, and I don't see any emails from her. I sent her an email asking her for more info.
Okay,
Nothing.
perfect. Okay, so we've got Ariel and Monica.
Yeah. I
Okay.
have more if you want to give you more.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, hold on
sorry,
one second.
I was hoping we could do those two readings, and then maybe if we have time, get in some questions about like what we can do. I don't know. What do you feel right now happening? Because you said there's a new moon coming
Back in about
up,
10
or
seconds.
okay,
Sure. Okay. Good.
or anything else you want to add, and then yeah, but definitely do another reading
Okay.
if you can get it in.
All right.
You're listening to Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed with Kelley and Cheryl. If you have questions for the hosts or guests, you can join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now let's get back to the show. Here again are Cheryl and Kelley.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here today with Laurie St. Clare, and she is talking about evolutionary astrology, which is a big mouthful to say. And we're very excited. She's going to do a couple, I guess, quick little readings that she can. It's kind of difficult to do on the radio, but she's going to do a couple that we gave her information for, and you guys can kind of see how it works. And if you're listening in and it's you that she's reading for, please comment on Facebook if you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we will get the comments sent to us here, so we'll see those. Okay, thank you. And I'm going to hand this over to you, Laurie.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at Monica's chart, and I just want to say, first of all, wow, this is a great example of a chart to do, because one of the things in astrology is you have all the elements, fire, earth, air, and water. Monica is a fiery girl. Like if she had a theme song, it would be "This Girl is on Fire." She's a Sagittarius, and she's got a lot of planets in Sagittarius, and that includes her North Node. So in a way, it can be a little bit easier for her to get to her spiritual path and to really get into it and be able to focus on it. Now, at the same time, her North Node, it's in Sagittarius, but it's also in the house that's ruled by Sagittarius. And so I would look at this and talk to her about really looking, this life is really, cliche, a spiritual journey, and to allow herself to look at and ponder her place in the world and develop her own philosophy, regardless of what anybody else is telling her, because she can have a tendency with Gemini South Node, particular to her, to kind of fit in with other people. A Gemini South Node can tend to it can fit in anywhere. Everybody, whatever your South Node is, you have benefits that you bring in. You're really good at things, but there can also be ruts. Now, a Gemini South Node can be someone that's master, jack of all trades, master of none. And so being able to focus and not kind of get lost in other people. And because the Gemini South Node, you can really kind of be a mimic. They're great mimics, just by the way, and usually very funny. But because there's a mutability, they can be so adaptable to the environment that they can lose themselves. And as well, I feel I've found that very possibly, and this is common, that in a previous life, she could have passed younger. And so this life is about really having the time to grow up, quote unquote. You know, if you die young, you're not really thinking much about philosophy or the meaning of life or how you fit in the world. And so there's that for her, being able to focus on spiritual aspects or even foreign culture, things like that are very important to her. Now, the thing back to the elements is that she doesn't have any planets in earth signs. So it's really important for her to bring that in her life, in like getting outside in nature, actually literally getting in the dirt, getting massages, you know, getting into your body. And it could be dancing, working out. You know, I like getting massages over working out. But you also she might also have to watch out about eating, because that can be a way of grounding, you know, and she is very sensitive to her environment. She's got Pisces rising. So again, it's a mutable sign. So that grounding is really important. Hematite is a good stone for her. You know, crystals would be good as well. And one thing I do want to mention, 100 things, is, as you know, when I get started, is that in evolutionary astrology, we have something that is called a skip step, which I believe Jeffrey Green coined that term. And it means there's some kind of unfinished business or some way that we might have shot ourselves in the foot. And for Monica, it's really kind of about betting big on herself and being able to take that risk with her intuition. So I want to mention that and just say thank you, Monica, for giving us your time and being able to let us have look at your life and your path here.
And Monica, I know you're listening. Please send an email. Let us know how that resonated so I could let Laurie know. Thank you.
And Monica, this was just a tip of the iceberg in this reading. I know Laurie would have elaborated, but it was such a beautiful reading, and your reading really helped her, or hopefully it's helping her understand that grounding and going out and taking a hike is going to help bring balance to her life, right? So
definitely,
that helps bring balance. Maybe.
Yeah, it's funny because I find usually people that are missing an element will and that's not a bad thing, will be attracted to people that have that element. And so she probably has people around her that will be like Cheryl.
I was going to say, Monica,
right?
You're hanging out with this show.
Exactly. So anybody who's got, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. And so that would be really helpful to her, usually individual basis. So, and when I talk about past lives, I just want to clarify that it doesn't mean this was every past life you've ever had. The nodes indicate kind of like what in this life you want to focus on from other past lives. So it's kind of like a theme. Like, when you go to college and you focus on a particular subject. And so it's like that with the past lives. So it's not just, it's just very specific. It's not all of them. Okay. So how about Denise?
Yes. Do you have that info, right?
I do. I have it up right now. Now, I'm just looking to see what's going on with Denise a lot. There's no accident. Let me just take a moment here. It's just like, okay, so if I was with Denise, I'd probably be giving her a nice, good hug right now. Because I know, first of all, we'll talk, okay, she's a Cancer. As we know, Cancer's very sensitive, ruled by the moon. When your sun sign is in the sign of Cancer, it's really important to follow the moon because the moon rules the sign of Cancer. So it'll be very significant for her to, when the moon is full, when the moon is new, and for her to allow herself to go with that, because you know, I'm sure she's very intuitive, very uh, just sensitive to her environment. People will say, quote unquote, moody. And it's just, you know, it's, you know, she's a barometer of, you know, the emotional weather around her. Now, her North Node is also in Cancer. So she's got a little lineup of the North Node, which is where she's going, you know, chose to kind of come into in this lifetime in Cancer. So that's helpful as well. It's funny because we have both those charts have that. And Mercury is as well there, and then her sun. So it's the North Node, Mercury, and the sun, and they're all really close within 3 degrees. So coming in that way, she's got the South Node in Capricorn. And whenever I see the South Node in Capricorn, it can really indicate, I know she's a woman that can, it's like the MacGyver South Node, because Capricorn South Node is someone that really had to make do with, you know, less than other people had. They're very good at taking charge. They're very good at assessing situations because they've been in dire situations. They've had to, you know, get by, you know, like I said, like the MacGyver thing of, okay, we've got this. We don't have time to cry over, you know, spilt milk, but that makes her, the benefit, really good in a crisis. She can take charge, she can jump in, but that can be to her detriment because this lifetime, it's about being able to receive nurturing, being able to receive, you know, emotional support and to really get more into that yin energy instead of more of that yang patriarch energy of, you know, having to be the provider, having to be the boss, having to, you know, be the person that provides the structure and the leadership. I'm not saying that she doesn't, you know, get to do any of that, but she needs to be mindful of whether that's her fallback and that she doesn't allow other people to give to her or other people to take the lead and let her be able to kind of take a back seat. That can be kind of hard because she could be used to really doing things on her own. And so for her, allowing someone to give can be a lot more scary than usual. But having family, having a sense of connection, belonging, and family doesn't have to be having kids. It can just be whatever she considers family. And that's an important thing and something that she feels like she can put her energy in to nurture and to feel like she has that bond with others. As well, I'm going to mention that, let me see where this is happening. Right now, Denise is, well, she's going through, I know, big changes either in career, either in maybe moving, in, you know, possibly could have recently had a death. But really life-changing things that have been happening for her over the last several years, where like she's really in a big transition period. And, you know, that can be for her coming into her power, coming into really examining her life and where she wants to go. So at the same time, that's Pluto has just gone over her midheaven in her 10th house, transiting Neptune in the sky, because we have our birth chart.
Right.
That's like our program. But then we have all the planets in the sky that talk to our planets. It's like musical notes. And when they come together, some are harmonious, some are discordant, but you put them all together and you get your crazy unique melody that's your custom, you know, your custom composition, you know.
So
People,
we all have a song, right?
exactly. And I love that you mentioned that, Cheryl.
great.
And yeah, it's so important that people, I think one of the things that frighten people about astrology is they think they're going to be pigeonholed, and it's like, no, everybody has a very unique, signature. And that's why the time and the date and the place is important. Anyways, so Denise, not a cliffhanger, gonna get back to you. And it's funny that I did that because it's actually a Neptune transit, and Neptune can be very much, Neptune is the god of the ocean, so it can feel like things are not quite clear. There can be disillusionment, disenchantment. But what Neptune brings when it's in a not easy aspect, dynamic, I like to call it, can be divine discontent. So it makes you look at, God, I'm not happy with this. And so you have to move beyond that and go, okay, then what kind of new dream do I need? What do I need to let go of that I was fantasizing about or I was dreaming in my life to now bring in something that really resonates with who I am right now? And for her, this is happening it affects her Venus, which is her own self-worth, her own self-satisfaction, being a woman, femininity, the way that she communicates that. And also it could be with work and what she's doing in that way, her talent towards earning, and maybe looking at if she does want to make changes again in work, in relationships. There's a lot going on for her in subtle ways and not so subtle ways, but to give herself the time, because especially when Neptune is present, you can feel confused, you can feel like I'm just not clear about that, and that's okay. It's totally, that's what's going on, is things are dissolving and they're reforming, and that's what Neptune does, is it just brings in just kind of like, well, this is not quite clear, but give it time. And to pay attention to her dreams in particular. She could be getting a lot through her dreams, and for her to really intend before she goes to sleep if she has anything that she's working on. And she can be particularly more psychic at this time, and but as well more absorbent to what, outside energies. So for her to take time by herself, and music would be fantastic use for this as well. Let me just see anything else off the top.
Love it. I love it how you were helping her understand self-care. Like, it's important to take time out for yourself, right? Because you're reading the stars, but you're also helping her create, the life that she wants to dream of. You're helping her, saying, dream on, Denise, because you got this, and
Right.
she feels very much like an alchemist because she was in survival mode, growing up. That MacGyver thing you're talking about, like she's, like you said, it served her,
Yeah, absolutely. Always does. It always serves us.
So now when you're finishing with Denise, now I didn't mean to take the last part of it, but what you told her to take time out for herself, and now.
But I know that's good advice for everybody, especially now, but in particular, like I said, to look at these particular planets, because sometimes, Neptune, like, it makes you feel unclear and it can make you feel like things are nebulous. And so it can create kind of an anxiety. And so that's why I would tell her, no, this is important. This is part of your growth period, to have this time for yourself and to not know, because people come to readings, as for answers, for clarity, and sometimes it's just getting the validation that it's like, no, you're just in process, and it's totally okay for you to not have the answers, because you're in the middle of becoming something different. You're in that phase of releasing and letting go, and probably needing to grieve, the old life, so you make room for the new life.
That's great. That's great. I love that you just went in. That was a really good one.
Thank you.
So Denise and Monica, we're hoping that you can comment by.
Monica said thank you very much. And if Denise, if you want to send an email or comment on Facebook, we'll get either one.
You're
And
welcome,
I don't think
Monica.
we have time for any more. There's so many, but I do have a couple questions I
Great.
wanted to ask that some people asked in
Okay.
their emails. So one person asked, do twins have the same charts?
Twins.
That's
It's
the first
interesting
question,
because
yeah.
twins are never born at well, okay, I actually have twin brothers, and they're 4 minutes apart. And I will tell you, left-handed, right-handed, glasses, no glasses, like it's hilarious how different they are. But twins share such a bond, and I have twin clients. It's funny, and the thing is there are so many similarities, but again, it's the consciousness that is brought to it, and just those few minutes, can make a big difference. It's amazing. So it's a great question because it really does. And even there'll be people born on the same time in the same place in the same hospital, but then their environment, it makes a difference as
Yes.
well.
And their past lives.
Yes, exactly.
And the other question that people were asking was, what if you don't know what time you passed? I mean, no, what time you were born. Sorry. I have two
Passed from the
questions in my
spirit
head.
world to the earth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Move, transition to here.
You know what? That's why I was saying it's to request to get your birth certificate, and
Mhm.
you do ask for the long form, and if you can, if you get it and it still doesn't have it, often there will have been talk in your family. Was it in the morning? Did your mom rush to the hospital in the middle of the night? That kind of thing. And I know, because I do have clients, they're like, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that. But there's a specialty called, there's a technique called rectification. I don't do it. I don't have enough Virgo in my chart to do it. And but other astrologers do, and I do. If a person has enough life experiences, you can work backwards and you can find, and especially people that specialize in this, you can really get a really close to what time they're born. I do know someone that went to a medium and asked their mom for the time and spirit. That's a technique as well. So you can ask, your mediums, your fellow mediums, in case you want to get it from someone in spirit.
I like that very much. Those are great answers. And we have just a couple of minutes left for the show today. Let's just we're not finished yet. We want to say, Laurie St Clare, people can reach you through your website, lauriestclaire.com.
Yep.
They can watch you on your Facebook page. I think, when is the perfect time to get a reading? When is it? Any time of year? Is it when you feeling anxiety, when you feel drawn to it?
It's when you feel drawn to it. It's really funny because even sometimes I've had things where somebody wants to get a reading with me, and then things come up in my life, and and I can't get to them. But I have found always I get to them, and there is something happening even on that day that is so significant that we need to talk about. It's amazing. And I think it's also, I really set the intention when I do readings that the person is going to get exactly what they need. So if they're feeling it, that's the time.
That's perfect. And everyone, I just encourage you to experience a reading with Laurie St Clare. Definitely different from any other astrology reading I've ever had. And she does record it, and or she'll help you get it recorded so you can remember. It's so much information. You do record. Laurie, it's been such a pleasure having you on our show today. You have helped so many people, and you've made it understandable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For making it understandable. And thank you for making it inspirational. And thank you for making it, an exciting process of getting to know our own soul and our own spirit. So thank you for that knowledge and education.
I so appreciate you guys having me on. It's always so good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, we loved this show. Thank you. And it was fun. And I loved learning everything from you, so I appreciate that. And you do need to start teaching.
I do.
I already have your first student.
I do. Thank you.
Yes.
So everyone, thank you for joining our show today. You've been watching Seeing Beyond Living Transformed with myself and medium Kelley Eckhart, which both of Kelley and I will be doing a demonstration tomorrow night. Please sign up for our newsletters, mediumkelly.com and mediumcheryl.com. Sign up for our newsletters and we'll always keep you informed of our upcoming events and what we're up to these days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you everyone on Facebook and YouTube. We love you all so much. We'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same channel. Have a wonderful